morning. How are you today? Good? Okay. Do any of you know what a person who works with wood is called? Someone who makes things out of wood? You know, they cut wood and then they make furniture, things like that. Do you know what a person who works with wood is called?
Carpenter?
Yes. A carpenter. Can I have the first picture, please, media? Yeah. So that's a carpenter. They make things out of wood. Do any of you know someone in the Bible who was a carpenter? Who was a carpenter in the Bible? Okay, does anyone else know? If not, okay.
Joseph?
Yeah. Who's Joseph? Jesus' dad. Jesus' father on earth. He was a carpenter back in old days in Jerusalem. He was a carpenter, and Jesus would always be in his dad's wood shop. Well, today I will tell you a story about a different man, a carpenter, who lived in Denmark around the 1900s, around 1990. So this man, his name was Ole Kirk Charleston. The next photo, or Christensen. Yeah, Kirk Christensen. So he was a carpenter, and he had his own little shop, and he had 5 children. So, and sadly, when his youngest daughter was around 6 years old, his wife had died of an illness, so he was left alone with all 5 children. So after school, all of his kids would come to his wood shop, and they would stay there, and his older sons would work up front. They would sell furniture for their dad, and he would make wood things. He would make pottery out of wood, he would make sculptures, he made furniture, he made chairs. And one day he noticed his youngest son, Godfred, who's 12 years old, he noticed that his youngest son was playing with the scraps of wood in a crate. And he saw, the scraps, and so he decided to make something for his son, like a toy. So he took the scraps of wood, and they were like little pegs off of the chairs. He would use to cut the chairs to make them even. So he took those chairs, the little pieces of wood, and he started making bricks out of them. Like he would make them into little shapes. And then he decided, why not make like a little peg on top to connect the bricks of wood? So then he started making those toys, and his son loved them. So his son and then his youngest daughter, they would play with those all the time. And so he decided to name those little toys Lego, out of 2 Danish words that mean play well. So that was the first Lego. It was 2 wood blocks that he would make little pegs. And then he saw that his children loved them so much that he started to make them for the children at his son's school, his classmates. So he started making little kits with different size blocks, and each of them had a little peg on top so that they could be connected and the kids could build stuff with it. They were made out of wood back then. And many years later, they made them out of plastic, like these. You guys know what Legos are, right? Have you ever played with them? Did you make anything with them? What'd you make? Do you know? I made a couple of models. If you want to see. What's the first one? You know?
Flamingo?
Yeah. And what about this one? You know?
Elephant?
Yeah, it's an elephant. And then there's many different things. This? It's a boat, right? And hold on to that. So yeah, so Mr. Christensen started to make them in different types and shapes and sizes, and he made them into animals. You can make them into houses and boats, and so he just made the little pieces, and he let the children have the creativity. So, what's the purpose? What do you do with Legos? You have to put them together, right? You have to build them. So, what else do we have to build? Our character, ourselves. So nowadays they say that one piece of Lego, like the basic Lego with 8 pegs, can make up to 300,000 connections with 6 other pieces. Can you imagine how many possibilities there are? How many things could you make with that, toys? But there are people that made other things with them. They made buildings, they made structures, statues. So there's a verse in the Bible that says, So there's a verse in the Bible that talks about building together. It says, "Now, therefore, you are no longer strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with saints and members of the household of God, having been built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Jesus Christ himself being chief cornerstone, in whom the whole building, being fitted together, grows into a holy temple in the Lord, whom you also are being built together for a dwelling place of God in the Spirit." So, we need, just like how Legos have different colors and sizes and each one is different, we need to be built together. So I wanted to do a little exercise where each of you pick one. You can pick one. That's already made. It's an airplane. Just pick one. You want one? No? There's pink. You want one? And then try and connect it to the one next to the person next to you. So connect it. And then give it to the next person and try and connect them. See what we make. See? Is that all? See, so when we work together, we're each different, but when we work together, we can create something and we can build a foundation. All right, thank you for listening.